Okay, can you confirm if I've started recording?
Yes, you have.
Okay. So now I'll be walking through what is the square of this project, and now we are going to start. So just like a serverless project, so being a serverless doesn't mean there is no server. So what it means is that we'll not be the one that is going to what do we call it? We will not be the one that will be, how will I explain this? We'll be orchestrating the server. Let me use it that way. But that's not the right word I wanted to use. It just skipped my brain. So okay, like we won't be the ones to commission. Is that what?
Managing the server.
Yeah, like being commissioned the server. You know, when we did in the last project we did, we used AWS and we set up the server by ourselves. We start configuring it. So then we won't be the one to do that. So everything is already configured. What we just need, we don't even need to set up anything like we did in all that AWS. So here we'll be using DynamoDB. So serverless doesn't mean there is no server. It means that we are not the one that will be managing the server. Like we don't have anything to do, like starting the server ourselves. Everything's already provision for us. So, and the main objective of this, we are using function as a service. So we are leveraging the function as a service technology to build up this application. So that's what we are doing. So now, this is the steps we are going to just walk through this project. I just put a short, intro here. So from the beginning, I just described it. I explained what we need to do each of the functions. Each of the functions, because we are trying to create a to-do application. So each function we are going to create, I've already created that, is in the GitHub, so we don't have any issue with that. So to do the create, name, everything is already there actually. So I just want to show you. So what are the prerequisites to do this project? So the first prerequisite is for you to have an auto account. Then, of course, you have a GitHub account. Then Node.js up to 12.12 and above actually. Then you have a serverless account, and you create a serverless account user. So we're going to walk through that. So let's start with the auto. So do you all have an auto account? I will let you be. Do you have auto accounts? I need response from us.
Some of us might not have.
Yeah, some of us have.
Oh, I think some of us have.
Oh, okay. So now let's just walk through it and start it from afresh. So this looks like my own. Let me just move this out. So this looks like my own auto account. So these are other applications that I've created using serverless, like of which one of my projects is part of it. So now we are going to create, just a minute. So I'm going to create a new auto account we are going to use for this project. So let's just call it, I don't know, other people. So we are using a single page. So let's create. So this is how you're going to start the project. So we create this. So let's go to settings. So like this is our client ID. This is secret. This is our domain. This is the name. So let's go and provision it. So here we're going to provision. We are going to. So here in our callback URL, we need a URL for our callback. But how do we know? And how should we find out this? Let me just show us here. Our callback URL, the reason why we are using it and we are putting it here is here. If you should check the client in the code, you go to source. If you should use our config, you will see that this our callback is here, and this is the URL. So if you copy this, So I'm just saying the reason why we are putting it in our auth, because that is what we want. We want like a callback, like whenever you click on that, you should go back to our auth and give it the authorization. So that we are using this callback URL. So allow login URL, that is not allowed. Allow web origin, yes. You might just give it the local host. So our web origin can be the local host. So I think here we just copy it. So these are now. Okay. Oh. I get it. Let me just. Okay, when I was trying to. Okay, so this is our web origin. So allow origin because this is not necessary. So let's save our changes. I hope we do this. I hope all this is done correctly. Okay. So let me try and confirm from my previous application to see if I fix it correctly. Okay. Okay, it's 3,000. Okay. Okay. So basically, you can use this serverless to develop any application that you don't want to manage by yourself, that you want it to be serverless. So you can develop it all by yourself. Let's just put this, it doesn't matter, but let's just leave it there. So save changes. So the next step is we go to serverless and create a serverless account. I've already created an account here in serverless. So that's why you see this is my username. You can see I have an account in serverless already. So I don't really need to create an account. So if you have not created an account, you have to create one. So let me push this down. So after you do that, the next thing I will recommend that you do is to go to your AWS and configure your IAM. So configure your IAM. I will tell you the reason why we do that, because that's what is going to give you access to your AWS account, give serverless the access to your AWS. You can see I've already configured one here, and I give it this. I just name it serverless, and I give it administrator permission. So I give it administrator permission, administrator access. So that one is already configured. So that being done, okay, already done this, created the serverless account. So that being done, then let's just go to the project. So now here, I already have it clone here. Let me close this. Let me just clone it. So I have already cloned it, just as I said earlier I should do. I've already cloned the project and I put everything here. So I put it in my repo. So this is my backend. So we start with our backend. So let's seed into our backend. So now when we seed into our backend, now let's check what is inside our backend. This is the source. So for us to begin, then we have to set our authentication. What's the authentication about? The authentication is what is going to, the backend is going to use to connect to the auth-o, because the major function of auth-o is to give a third party access to connect to our application. So now, how are we going to go about that? Then we go into our Lambda function to our authentication. Then we come here. Then you can see here, there's a to-do here. So what is going to be here? What is going to be here? So let's go back here to our auth-o. So in this our auth-o now, if you go to the advanced setting, you will see in our advanced setting, you will see endpoints. So in the endpoint, we have what we call the JSON web key set. The JSON web key set is what we'll be using to connect. So now let's copy this and go back to our code. Then I paste this here. Then with that, our authentication is set here. So I've already written this out. So I might just take a moment to explain this. Maybe after we're done, I will try and explain all the codes I wrote for the functions and the authentication. So after that's been done, then we are now in our backend. So let's try to bring up our backend. Let's install it. So let's check what's the version of the node we are using. I'm using 16.16.0. Now let's check serverless version. So yeah, I'm using, okay, so I'm using the latest version of serverless. So like I said earlier, the Git branch I am now presently, I'm on dev and I have the main. So I'll be pushing to dev, but the starter code will be in main. So if you want to clone it from first, so I won't merge the two together. So now let's start this. So let's do npm install. So we do npm install to install all the packages. So our package is being installed. Hope you can see the bottom of my screen. So I want to be sure if you are following.
Yes, sir.
Shegun,
We are following.
Okay.
should we work along, or is better to just watch you and then do it later from the recording?
Yeah, it depends. You can try to walk along or you can do it from the recording. But what I would just advise is have the understanding of what we are doing. So if you can have the understanding of what you can do, you can be done with it in 30 minutes and 1 hour. It's very simple for you to have the understanding. So, but because when we get to the serverless file now, I'll be start typing. So when I start typing now, you might not be able to walk along. So might be some area might be kind of fast. Do you understand? So
Yeah, I
that's
understand.
why you might just just watch or go along as I'm doing it. And if you can do it as I'm doing it, it's okay. It's very fine. But what I'm main concern is for you to have a basic understanding why we are doing this, why is this here, and what is there. So we're able to know anytime, any day when it comes up.
Sorry, sir, please, what's your serverless version?
Okay, my server, I'm using the latest version. Note the old version will not work. The version, I think the old version like 2 point something that was instructed before it won't work. So just use the latest, but don't put when you are installing it, just do npm install. Let me try and go there.
I think I was able to install the one that they stated. There's
No, you
when
will
you
get
go to
an
the
error like this.
so when
Don't
you go to
use
the
this.
serverless site, there's some workaround around it. But if you use the latest one and it's worked, then I think
Yeah.
I'll just upgrade to that one.
So
Because
use the latest.
the previous projects, when we tried using the latest version of Node, it was giving us errors. At least for me.
Okay, so
If it's not the same with this one, then
no, what I will recommend is you use the latest version of serverless, because if you don't use the latest, you still get an error and it will tell you to upgrade to the latest because there are some things that will not work on the latest version. Latest version is not compatible with every other cloud platform, but now it's compatible with other platforms. So there are some things they change. So that's why it's advisable you use the latest.
okay. Is it the same with the Node also?
No. It's not node dependent. It's not node dependent. It's
I
not
mean,
node dependent.
do we use the Node version 12 as stated, or
No. You can use any version of the node that you have. It's going to work. It's going to work. So this has finished installing. So the next thing we are going to do now is I don't need to do because I've already done it, but because of you. So let me just try. We're going to log into our serverless. So let's do serverless login. It's going to bring me to my serverless. It's going to redirect me. So you can see you are now logged into your serverless dashboard. So it's going to redirect me to another web browser. So if you try, that's what it's going to do. So I think with this now, we have set it up. So the next thing we will do after setting up our serverless is earlier I said we should configure our what do you call it, our IAM user and configure our access key with it. If you should check, there's a place we'll be asking to configure the to use in XLS, configure credentials, or we don't really need it if you have configured your access key to your environment here. Like you can see, let me try to put this up. I think if you can see here, I'm using my AWS credentials is already configured using my normal AWS config. So I've configured my AWS already inside it, so I'm okay with that. So that's why I say you should just open an IAM user at the initial.
So another question: is it the same permissions that we use for the previous project?
No,
so that we just
yeah, it depends. You can use the old one you use. You can. I'm trying to see. I can take this off my screen. Yeah, you can use the old one, anyone, if you have it already. So you can. So that one too is okay. So am I able to answer your questions?
Yes, please.
Okay, so now let's continue. Now, so since we have done the serverless login, we have configured this. So now let's go to our. So the only thing we are going to write here today is our YAML file, and we should be going through it together. So this is a template that is already there, and we are going to go through this template together now. So we'll be writing everything from scratch and see how does it. And before then, there is something I want us to install. So if we install this, it's really going to help us to get off some errors because of the serverless framework that we are using. So this, because most of the codes there, they are, it has been written a long time, and there are some packages that will not work. I mean, some plugins that have been updated. So for the plugins to be able to work, so make sure note this this command line. So this is the latest the role that is going to perform our. If we don't install this, we might have issue with our IAM what do you call it? When we are writing our YAML file, when we get there, we explain it. But let's just install it. So in case I forget, so I won't be looking for the error somewhere. So let me just install this in my backend.
Can you please send that
can we get a link to the Google Docs so that?
Yeah, I will put it in the documentation in the README. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
that's NPMI. Can you please put it on this chat? This
NPM what?
one. This one that you just pasted.
Oh, okay.
Can you please put it on this chat?
Okay.
Thank you.
Let me see. I think I just stitch. Okay, let me go back to our, where are we? Okay, we are trying to install this. I think this is done. So one package has been added. Okay, so let's go to our YAML file. Now let's start writing this. So we won't take, I don't want to take more of our time in this stuff, so we just finish it and go. So now this is our organization. What does organization mean? Does anybody know? Does anybody know? Nobody.
I think okay. you choose the organization you want, or
no. So the organization is your serverless username. That's why I said it earlier. No, when I did serverless here, this is my organization. Do you get? So that's the organization. So did I spell it correctly? Let me just. So that's the organization. So you are trying to tell it that, okay, well, this is where I'm pushing this thing to. This is serverless that I'm using. So this is my organization. Do you
Oh,
understand?
okay. So it's like this is you are stating that this is the server that I'm pushing to.
Yeah, so that's your serverless framework. So it's only about the organization. So organization is like your username, just like we did in Docker Hub. We said our Docker Hub username. That's what we are pushing to. So this is going to be organization. Do you
Okay.
understand? So, okay, let's just leave this, or we can just name it serverless without people. So like, just like we did in Kubernetes, it's not the same, but I'm trying to use this principle to explain. You know, when we create our deployment, we create our service file. So this is exactly what we are doing here. Like this sounds like the deployment. This is just like the service. Do you understand? So now,
Yeah.
so this will
Yeah.
be the plugins we'll be using. We'll be using this Webpack. We'll be using serverless IAM roles. That's when we're going to be assigning the IAM roles and permission. So serverless plugin tracing. So the other plugin tool that we are going to use, you know, this is a YAML file, and this is just like what you call it, an array. I hope you know this. So we'll be using serverless AWS documentation. I hope I spell it correctly. Okay, so then another plugin that we'll be using, I will be using the validator plugin. So I wrote it somewhere. Let me just get it from where I wrote it, so that won't be a mistake while trying to spell it. So let me just bring it here. So, but I want us to understand it just as I'm doing it. So you have the understanding of why we are doing it and what we are doing. So we might not really need this tracing. I don't really need this because these are old plugins. So now coming to providers. So in these providers now, what do we mean by the providers? So yeah, providers is not telling us about which platform are we using. So yeah, we are using AWS and we are using Node 12.x. This is telling you we are using Node 12 and above. So if we use Node 11 here, it's going to have error here because you have already instructed that, you know, in serverless, this is what we are using, Node 12, because the function we are building is in like a JavaScript. So we tell you, okay, we are using Node and it's a 12 and above. That's what we did here. So after doing that, Lambda hash version, we might not need this. We might not need this. Let's just comment it out. So then we go to stage. Now this stage is very essential because stage is telling us that which stage are we doing? Is it, as you can see, stage dev, like development. I can decide to change it, maybe production. So maybe when you are deploying to your serverless now, you deploy it to what do you call it? You want to do development first, you deploy to development, then you want to upgrade and change it to your production. So you can change it here. So, and this thing valid on any platform. If you want to, if I can't come, I can just say this one, go to GCP. Do you understand? So it's not really just AWS. So we can use any account, any platform rather. So now, we're now saying, okay, where are we deploying to? Which region are we deploying to? Let's just use ES61. So most time I do like using 2 because sometimes 1 might be crazy. But let's just leave it in ES61 and pray it doesn't go crazy. So now our tracing now. In tracing, what we are trying to tell you that in tracing, we are telling that we are using Lambda function, then we are using an API gateway. Do you understand? So trace this through the Lambda function and the API gateway. You know, this what the Lambda is going to do is going to trigger an event. And what is it make you to trigger an event? When it receives a request through the API gateway, that's when it can perform. So that's what we do here with tracing. Now, we now go to the environment. We now want to set our environment. Yeah. So in our environment, I don't really think this is, so everything that is not, I've just commented out here. So now, first of all, let's give it a project name. Okay. Let's name it that people, right? Okay. So our project name is other people. So now this is our to-do table. So in this our to-do table, that is the table that is going to create for us on our DynamoDB. When it creates a table for us, it's going to also create what? It's going to create an X3 bucket for us too. So now, so might not this one, let's just comment this out. We don't need this. So we don't need this. So now, this is the project name. We created that. Then our to-do table, we want to give it a name. So now, what's the name that we are giving it here? This name, just like when you are doing object-oriented programming in JavaScript, for those that are not object-oriented programming, when we want to access the child of a parent, we call the name of our, how will I call it now? Maybe our object is close to this. I want to access the child inside. We call the name, then we call the key in the object. So now what we are doing here is, in this place, I want to name it to our provider dot stage. So now this is my provider. So you said you should go to provider stage. What is inside our stage? Dev. We are going to see this when we create our table. We are going to see what, so it's going to give it the name of this, then it's going to give you the provider stage dev. Don't worry, when we get here, we're going to know. So let's just give our to-do table. Let me just give our to-do table a name. Let's say that people. That people. Then our S3. This doesn't matter. You can just give it any name that tallies with this. You can say that people. So everything will be kind of unique. So after that is being done, now let's go to our, but before we go to our functions, so before we go to our function, there is something I want us to configure there that is really going to be helpful, which is our custom. I think they put it here. I don't know if it's in this. Let me check here if it's here. I don't think it's in this, but I have it written. Let me just try and copy it and give it to us. Then we explain it. So if you notice something, that when I'm writing this place, everything is still on the same line. Plugins, service, app, org, provider. Then before I come to my function, so it's only my environment that is inside. Okay, so these two, I'm putting in there. So this is a custom. Okay, so I will explain this. Let me see. Okay. Are we still following?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So now this is our custom. So this is just a custom settings for us. So it's just a custom settings for us. So let me look at documentation, our API info, just like we are going inside. So what's the version we are using? 1.0.0. So we want to commit it with that people So what we want to configure here, we have one, here we use REST API. So yeah, we want to configure the REST API that we'll be using, the version and the description of the REST API, then the models that we'll be using to here. That's what we want to configure. So now this is the version. So we can just give it any name, just like description. So this is the models. And where is this model coming from? And if you notice, in this function, they give us model. Yeah. So this model is just like an object. You can see it's in key and value, key and value, key and value, key and value that is giving us. So that's what we are configuring here. So yeah, so this is the model. We have two models there. Can you see? As you can see, they are both written together. They are both like they are both an array. So this is the name of the first one. This is the name of the second one. This is the configuration. That's why we have to put it here and configure it. So after we're done with that, okay. So now let's go to our. So let's start writing our functions now. So here, let me just comment this out. So we're still going to use it. Let me just comment it out here. But if you at any point you don't understand what I'm doing, just call me back so we're able to explain it.
Are we going to uncomment that one that you just commented?
No, we might not use it because we are going to put it in each of the functions.
Okay.
Do you understand? So now we want to start with the function. So now each function now, which is this one, we want to start with our get to do. So each function we have is what? The name of the auth, then the function name, which is get to do. This is the handler, and this is the event. Are you with me?
Yes.
So can someone tell me where do we get this? Do you know where we got this?
From the source folder.
From which
The
source code?
SRC folder, like SRC folder.
You remember I said earlier when we configured this, when we do our Lambda, we did this authentication.
Yes,
So,
yes.
Exactly. So this is where it's coming from. So we say our authentication is from this place. So this is where it's going to get our authentication. That's why we have it there. So let's go to our serverless. So that's why we have this handler here. And each function has an handler. So where is it? Where's our Lambda? This is our HTTP. This is each of our functions. So they all have handlers. Which one is this? This one is create to do. These are get to do. So these are get to do. So each of them have an handler. When we are writing a Lambda function, we must put it in put an handler. So that's why we put it here that, okay, this handler is from source Lambda HTTP get to do, which name of the functions. So if you get there, what's the name of the function here? You can see this is the handler. So where we create this, I think this get to do, right? Let me see. Okay, yeah, this get to do. So, and you can see, I didn't show, let me quickly mention this. You can see what I did there. I tried to put the access control allow origin inside the function. So we won't have anything like cause error or cause permission or whatsoever it is. So that's why I tried to put this inside here. And you can see that when I try to do it, so the function must return something. So it's under the return, then I put this, that whenever you want to return, just make sure you return this for me. Do you understand? Okay, so let's continue. Is there anything I need to explain here? Okay. So that's what we do for each of the function while creating it. So now this is the handler. So what are the events that we want this to do to do? We want it to get. No. Where am I? Okay, this is the method that we want to use. When we want to create this, we are going to send a get request to our API, who is going to send it to our function. So that's what this one is telling us. But if you want to create a to-do now, if you get to create here, you can see that it is post, because we are posting something there. But if you say I want to get a to-do, that I want to show me the to-do that I have, like you are getting it. But here we want to post, so you know the type of the method that we are posting to each of the function. And so this, let me just do something here. Okay, let me just copy the function, the one I've written down, and rewrite it there. But the major thing is I want us to understand it and see why we are writing that. So I might have just written everything for us and just tell us how to do it, but that really doesn't make any sense. So now, in this our get to do now, like you can see, this is our handler. So what's the event? This HTTP event. We said create this get request to where what is going to be the path? It's going to be /to-do. So that's why we say to-do /to-dos. So cause true. So here now, this might not be okay. Let's just leave it there. Then authorizer, we are using our auth, which is this. Do you understand why this is here? Do we get now?
That error is not an error, Abi.
No. This is not an error.
Okay.
So this is the auth here. So now we have to have our IAM role statements. So our IAM role statement is name it the provider dot the environment dot project name. You know this project name is in our environment. So it's going to name that one, then it's going to give it all this name like that. I don't know if you understand what I'm doing here. So the IAM role.
So are you saying that it's going to take the provider, the
so
project name from the environment, which is the environment from the project
exactly
provider,
so it's going to,
and then attach it to
exactly.
Then attach it to get to do role. Then the rest of the statement is going to be the provider stage, as we stated at the beginning of the file.
Yeah, so it's going to just be taking the key here. It's just going to be taking the value here for this key.
Okay.
Do you understand? Like the other day we said the environment project name is just going to take this other people as the value and slot it and give us the name and everything. So like everything is just automated. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So now our IAM rule statements now, the first say allow. Then what's going to be our action? The DynamoDB is going to give you a query. So this is going to be the resource. So it's going to go to this RAN, just like we name it before too. So this is what is going to create the table too. So it's going to be the to-dos table. Do we have to-dos table here? Let me check again. Okay, you can see the to-dos table. So it's just going to take this with that people provider dot stage, which is dev. Do you understand? So that's how it's going to do. So the same thing, the way we create this, also the same thing, instead of us giving this one name, each one name after the other, we don't really need to do that. Just name it after what we did initially. So the same thing is going to go for our create to do. So let me just get that also. So with this project, you shouldn't have any issue with it. So we have done our get to do, right? So we want to do our create to do. So create to do, bring it out using the same line with get to do. So indentation is the most important thing here. I think they are well indented. So I think I don't need this. Let me just remove this out and bring them together. Yes, okay. So let me just put this here, create to do. So to know what's really. So the same thing happens because here we are giving a get request. Do you understand? We want to query what is already on the table. Is it? Yeah, get to do. Like something's already there now. We want to get a request. So that's why, okay, what we are just doing, DynamoDB, we are giving it a query. Yeah, get what is on this table for us. But now in this case now, create to do, the method is post, not get. Now, when we are doing the post request, then that's where okay, let me get the first. So when we go to our HTTP, this is the method we want to use. This is the path to do cause true authorizer. You know why this auth is there. So in this, I just put this documentation, like to give it what's the name of this, just for documentation. You say we want to create a to-do list, create new to-do item. So that's just a string. So what is the model we are using to create this to-do item? So that is where we have this applications like JSON. That means we are using a JSON. So, and where is it? That is what we have here. Inside these our models. Is it here? Let me see. Create to-do request. No. Is here in our request. Can you see? Let me try to move this. So this is the create to-do request. So when we get to update to, we are going to use this. Let's just open it and see. So if you want, what is this one is now telling us that what is the format in which we used to create it, the to-do, just put the name and the due date, then we create the to-do. What about update? What are we doing? If you want to update, then it's going to require the name, the due date, then is it done, true or false? That's the Boolean that is here now. So the Boolean is just to say, okay, yes, I'm like, want to confirm that this is done or not done. So that's why the Boolean is there. So I hope you get that now. So once we validate, so this is the reason why we are using the plugin, the revalidate name. You know, when we want to create the to-do, we have to confirm if the name already exists before on your table or doesn't exist before. So this one is working for that too. So we now put in the IN statement just like we did earlier. We put the IN statement. But note here now, when we want to give it the row statement, the action, we now say the DynamoDB that no, we are putting, you know, initially here, without the DynamoDB that I want to query you, that give us a result, is a get. But here we are now telling the DynamoDB that no, we want to put an item inside of you, not query. So that's what we are now doing for this our create to do. So after that, let me just put this here. Then this is the results, like it's going to generate this one for us. This is the effect allowed. So this one, this X-ray, just see, just like the term called, just like the way X-ray works, that is going to look and see what is inside. Do you understand? So that's how the, let me just do this. Okay, so that's how the X-ray works too. I want to say a better way in which I can explain the X-ray. Maybe when I get a better time, I'll use that one to explain it. So now the resources, we say, oh, resources. So we have done for our create to do. So the next thing is, let's go also to the next one, which what is here? We have done create, update. We have three more, right? So now the next one, let's go to, we have create, right? Let's update. Let's do the update to do. Okay, let me just remove all this. And then do this. So let me just go and get this photo and explain it. So yeah, just like we did earlier, these are our updates. So let me just replace it here. So let me close this so we have a full screen. So these are updates to do. So just like the same thing we did here, this is the handler, this is the event. So here, you know, it is updates. So the events that we are going to perform here is different. Here we want to patch, just like, you know, it is here already, just like patch this thing for me. I don't know if you understand it. You know, we have already created now, but we want to update what we already created. So you now say patch. So that's what this is doing. So now, what part are we now going into? Of
Sorry,
course, we
sir.
are, okay.
No, like what's the difference between the patch and the post there?
So post means you want to post something new. You know, we have many,
No,
we have
not put.
put. You said
Yes,
put,
sir.
right?
Yes.
So when you want to, I think there is one that is in put. I think that one is in, maybe when we get there, we'll explain. Let me get there, we'll explain that. Is there anyone with put? No.
I'm
So
not.
put also can work in this sense. Like when you want to see it today, like if you want to upload something inside your S3 bucket, you know, you will want to put. Do you understand? But here, we want to create something, we want to post a table. We want to create a table now, just like we want to post something. So, but put is when we want to, it's going to involve you putting an object inside. I think, let me see. This is delete. Don't use put, do we? No. Okay. Okay, we don't use. So, post and put, they work more like very similar to each other, but there is a difference in them. So, but post is more like let me use it like this. When you want to create a table now, use post. But when you want to maybe upload inside an S3 bucket now, you might use put. Do you understand?
Okay.
So they work more very closely to each other. Like now, when we are using patch now, like that means patch means we have it already, but we want to update it. Like from the normal English term, patch to it. So now looking at the path now, is the same path to do slash. Now the to-do ID is which table. You know, when we create the table now, we have the table name and everything. So it's going to reference the ID. You know, you can edit all the table at the same time. There is a particular element that you want to edit. So that's why this part is different. It's going to that particular to-do ID that you want to what? That you want to update. So just like this, yes. So like, you know, I will get this request, right? Like I showed you earlier. And this, so this is the IAM statement also. They have this, the effect, and the S-ray, yes, this is done. So the next one we'll be doing is, let's go for the delete. So here, delete. So the method we'll be using, of course, is going to be what? Delete. And the part, you can't delete everything at the same time. There's a particular object I want to delete. So which is why we have this ID too, which you have this part slash the ID. So let me just get the delete also. So delete. Okay. So let me do this. So it's when doing copy and paste in YAML is very you have to be very sensitive for indentation.
Sorry, sir, there's a question. They said, what is rec validation name for?
The rec,
REQ validation name. I think it was part of what you wrote. Yes.
okay, yeah. So now, if you should check earlier, when we are doing the plugins, we use this validator plugin. So this validator name, the way it works mainly, it's like I might be wrong, but I think that's how it works. Where is it? Okay, so the validator name is validating the body. Let's check it. So I won't give it, so let's just go to the serverless documentation. So anytime you have, you should just go to the documentation. So you can't have everything in your head. So that's why there is the documentation. No, we are using the serverless framework. Okay, so let's just chat the real value. Oh, validation. Is it data plugin? Or okay, let me just click on this first. Okay. Well, let me just go to plugin. There are many plugs in. So so it's going to name me. Let's load custom value. Okay, wait a minute. Let me just search for this directly. So we're going to get it. Oh, okay. Let me put it on Google.
Sir, maybe we can check those ones out on our own so that we won't use too much time.
Okay, just a minute. Okay, here it is. So this is the plugin. So what is it doing? Just like I said, it's going to make it to match the, like what he said there, to match resources you describe. So that's why we are using the validator there. That's why we use the plugin. And when we use it here, where are we? Delete validator. We said request body validator. So you want us to validate the body of what we are using. That's why we have it here, request body validator. So I think that is clear to an extent. I'm also getting what it's doing right now too. So now, okay, so like here too, like what we did earlier. So what action are we performing on the DynamoDB? We are deleting an item, which is this. Just like as usual. Oh, sorry, let me. So as usual, we are deleting this. So the next is generate upload URL. So in this generate upload URL, what are we doing? We want to, okay, this even the area that I was trying to find the other time that maybe I was thinking is going to be put, or the method is post. And what are we trying to do? This is more, we work more with our, I think this is where we work more with our S3. Every other one we work with our DynamoDB. But here, because we want to what, generate each URL that everything that we upload. You know, when we do a create to do, we are going to upload something into it. So we want to generate that URL because everything we upload is going to go into our S3 bucket. So here we'll be working on with the S3. So now let me get the code. Okay. So Yeah, I will use this one to explain. So now, just as usual, this is our header. So this is the method we are doing, a post request. And now what's going to be the part to do the specific ID / the attachment we put for that ID. Because when we go to the to-do, we create a to-do table, which is it have its own ID. After we create this ID, then we try to upload something inside of our to-do. So once we upload something inside the to-do, the URL to the upload document is what we want to find out here, which is what we want to get. That's why the path is different here, just as before. So yeah, this is normal MO. And what's the action we are doing here? Just like before, the action is in our Dynamo table. But here, we're working on our S3 and is all. Do you understand? And our S3 to the put trace segment. Then this is our resource name. So now you know in our this our now is no more dynamic table. We are going inside our S3. So that's why we have the resource of S3 here. Do you get that? So next we're going to our resource. So under the resource, we have resources, gateway, our gateway response, our gateway API, our table, everything. So let me just, I will explain that now. Let me just try and get this. I hope you are following me and you understand what I'm doing.
We are following, but some of the places, for me, I don't understand. I don't know about the others.
Which place? That's why I say just call me. So I will explain it. So I won't need to go over it again. Which part?
No, I was distracted at a point. So I just want you to finish. When you finish, and then I'm watching over again, I'll be able to get it.
Oh, okay. So now, what are the resources we are using? So in our resources we are using a Dynamo table. It's telling us the to-do table, which we have already declared above. So what's the type? AWS Dynamo. So I think I'm using another platform now. I will just come here, I will say, okay, well, this is maybe GCP. Then is it DynamoDB that is called Jutsu, or what is it called in GCP? I don't know actually. So, or maybe we are using Azure. We just put it, but because we are using AWS, that's why I put the AWS type. So that means if you write this, you can deploy it on any platform. Just change it and deploy on any other cloud platform. So what's now the property? So this is the attribute name. So
question.
Okay.
The type, is it case sensitive? Like
yeah, it is.
Okay.
So the property now, we have the user ID, that what's going to be on the table. We have the user ID, and what's the attribute that X means string. Is it going to be string or number? String. So this is the two, we are creating two tables here, one for ID and one for to-do ID. So this is user ID string, to-do ID string. So this is the key schema. So this is the attribute, which is this one. What's going to be the key type? Arch. Why are we going to, is it going to be something we're going to hash it because let's say it's string, then attribute name for this one too, the key type. So because it's an ID, so it's okay, let's put range. Then one thing that is very important, and you must note this billing mode is very, very important. So you can see that it's pay per request. So now we are going to be paying per request that you put on that. If you don't put this billing mode, it's going to assume the default, and it's just going to be running. If you either request or no request, your money is going. So that's why I put this billing mode that is pay per request.
But
So,
I thought I thought the when you are using the Lambda automatically is it's only you're only built for what do you call it? Uh, you're only
Yeah,
built for whenever the function is used.
Or whenever you do your request.
yeah. So when you are using Lambda, it's based on when the function is used. But there are other cases, like this server, there are sometimes maybe there's no, let's say there's no request and maybe there's an update or something that is happening on your website that is also affecting your application. Do you understand? I'm just using that as an example. I didn't say that can
No,
actually
I don't
affect.
understand. I don't understand. I don't understand because
I think
uh,
this is a DynamoDB table. This isn't a Lambda function. So for DynamoDB, you have to specify whether it's pay per request or you provision capacity units.
Because thank you. Because even in each request, like what he was saying, it's only when you send a request that it's going to go to the table. So it's just like each request go to the table. But there are many instances in which it might not even be going to the table directly. I want to say I'm going to explain that. But just as he says, it's because it's I configure a dynamo table, and the only way it can go to our table is when we make a request from the function. That's when it goes to our table. And sometimes it might not be the request that we make from the function that goes to our table. So that's why we have to configure our table, our dynamo that must be a pay per request. But if you don't specify this billing mode, that's my main point. It's just going to assume the default. For us, I don't know the default. I don't know what the default is, but the default is not pay per request. So now we're going to pay per the request that is done on the table. Else we might just consume our credit. So that's that. So now, these two, these are our API gateway. So now we are now using, do you understand REST API? Do you all know what is REST API and what is being used? How it's being used?
REST API. I've been trying to understand REST API for the past 1 week.
Okay, so let me just define REST API like this. So I think I wrote something down. So REST, like REST, just look like REST API is just like a representation state transfer. Like I want to transfer myself to another person. Just look at it like that. So if I want to bring, okay, let me use this example. If I want to invite, okay, let me say if I want to bring Twitter into my application, now into my website, like, okay, click on this, once you click on that button, it's going to take you to my Twitter account, or it's going to take you to my LinkedIn account or something like that. That LinkedIn that you are integrating into our website is just like that. Look, that's click me. I don't know if you understand. Okay, let's just go to a website so you can understand something. What can I try to do? Okay. Let me just try to do if this thing is still up. Just a minute.
Shego, can you say that it's like a form what do you call it? A protocol by which data will be exchanged between two
exactly.
different.
So like look at this, just my website now. I click on this LinkedIn now. It's going to take you to my LinkedIn page. So this, like, it takes you to my LinkedIn page, and it's from my own website that you go to the LinkedIn page. So I only click a button here. So this button I click is like it brings Twitter inside my website. Do you understand? I don't know if you get. So it brought Twitter inside my website. So that's just the principle of REST API. I want to bring a state representation. If you are working with React, you understand what is called state. When we are doing Redux, I don't know if you work with React. When we are doing Redux, so then we understand what state is. Like I'm transferring, what is it called this thing? JavaScript, and I think more used in React. When you want to do this dot that, this dot this dot that, I want to bring, just like we did in Self here. I want to bring something that is here now. When we did this, what I'm trying to do is bring something that is in the provider, the environment, and the to-do that is inside the environment. Bring this dot this or this state or that state. Do you understand? So we want to bring it. We want to bring the representative, like we want to invite the president of another country to our country now. Then they send a representative. So that representative is speaking on behalf of the president. So if the person is in our country, we will see the person as the president. Although the person is not the president, but we see it as the president because he's the one that is representing that person. So just like we are bringing someone's representative inside another thing. So that's what the REST API is doing. So we have different types of API, like your login button, that you click on your login button. So we call it an API too. Maybe your payments platform is an API. So we have different types of API. But REST API is like you are bringing a whole representation of something to another. No, API is just like application programming interface. So you want to bring the interface of someone else into I want to use that interface to be able to communicate with that person or with someone. I don't know if you get the explanation. Well, I can still explain, but I don't want us to waste much time. So let me see.
So let's continue. This resting. Let's just
we need
continue.
the rest. Okay. So now these attachments, but attachment too. So what attachment bucket are we using? So we are telling them, okay, we are using AWS. So under AWS, what are we using? We are using, I can say, okay, I'm not using S3, I'm using maybe Firestore or something else. Do you understand? Or maybe I'm using GCP and I put the name, or I'm using Azure. So I just put that the type here. So this is the property. So what are the allow methods? Allow origin, allow all. This is the call rule. This allow header, allow all. So get method. So what are the methods that we are getting here?
Segun, with a bucket name, is it possible to use a bucket from another, like mix providers? Let's say you are working with AWS here, and then
yes,
you use another cloud service for your buckets. Is it possible like that? Or
yes, it's possible. It's very possible, but I don't know how. But I think that's something I read when it comes to using of multi-cloud. But I've not actually done this, so I don't really know how you're going to go about it. But I think it's possible. What the issue might be, I don't think that should be an issue with serverless because it's well compatible with every other. But the issue there might be the storage type and the capacity and stuff like that. But I'm not really well sure about that anyway. So these are the allowed methods. We want to get, post, put, delete, add, all the methods we have. Just put it. We are using everything that we have today. So now let me just copy the remaining parts. Then I will just try and explain it. Then we just run our stuff and then we are good to go. Bucket policy, okay. Let me just copy it here. Then I will explain it. I think I'm still following the indentation. So I will explain it. Initially, I want to put everything here. I will just tell you how we do, but I don't think that will be helpful because you need to understand what you are doing. Now in the bucket policy, now this is the validatory body, the request body validator. So now what are we validating here? What are we requesting? So here we want to validate our REST API. So here, we talk about authentication and authorization. So this we are telling them that we are giving a third party access to our account, maybe Google or LinkedIn or anything. So when they log in, are they who they say they are? Do you understand? We want to validate that through the REST API. Yes, they are who they said they are. Then the next thing is, do they have the right to perform what they are performing? Authorization. That's why the validator is more important. Okay, let's validate. Is this person who they say they are, or do you understand what I'm saying? So now, you know, the way we use our REST API in AWS, maybe I will extend this. I will use our REST API gateway and our gateway response. You know, inside our VPC, when we create our VPC and we have our subnet, both private and public subnets. So we want to block access. We can't just let all access go inside our public subnet. I mean, sorry, our private subnet. So
Yeah.
So now there's something we call although it's not here, so I'm just explaining AWS generally now. So it might not be on, let me use something to, okay, let me use this to explain. I just want us to get this principle. I think I did, let me just go to GitHub. I did something relating to that in a project like that. Okay, like infrastructure as a code. Okay. Oh, this is, okay. Can you all see this now? So let us, these are inside our VPC now, these are AWS. And inside these are VPC. We have, these are public subnets, we have our private subnets. Now, in order for each, each one we have a security group. This one is inside a security group, this one is inside the security group, and we have the instances. Now, this NAT gateway, okay, before there, no. So this user will come through the internet gateway. So when they submit an app, they make a request through the internet gateway. So this internet gateway, we send it through the auto load balancer. So we send it to the load balancer and send it to where the request is. So this internet gateway is the one that stands between the user and our application. It's the one that's going to receive the request from our user. So yeah, so
do you mean that, like, when a request is coming, it gets to the internet gateway, then the gateway will decide this request, is it allowed to have access?
No. So the internet gateway is what actually, like, it provides the internet access between the user and the application. So just it's like a gateway. If you want to enter somewhere and there's no door, there's no way you can enter. Because cannot be any request cannot come from the user to our public subnet. It is through the internet gateway that is going to route it. Like, let me go back to that place. So now if we route it now, maybe go to our load balancer and distribute load through that one. So now it's going to open a PVC, a NAT gateway, through a route table that is going to connect to our private subnet. So it is through this this NAT gateway that it can connect with this our private subnet. But I think this one is just outside our, because don't let me just go too far with this. So maybe we just another time we're going to do a class like this on AWS and other services on it, so we're able to understand more about it. So like, I don't want us to spend more time today. So let me just quickly explain. So these are gateway response. This is the type, API gateway. So we want to get the gateway response. So for both our course, it's going to allow the course origin, course header, and what type of header. Just allow, when we are doing, if you have a course error, you'll be seeing something like HTML data, API key, all these ones. Just accept all of them. You can as well put star here, anyone. So this allow methods to allow the methods, maybe put, get, delete, everything, allow it. So what are we using for our REST API? We're using the API gateway, REST API. AWS has its own REST API gateway, the REST API. So that's what we are using. So the same thing for this. So now let me just go quickly. So these are our bucket policy. For we to use our S3 bucket, we have to create a bucket policy for it. So this is the bucket policy we create, just like when we want to generate it on our S3 like this, just the same method. My policy, just give it my policy. This is the version, the latest version they are using. This is the statement. This is SID. This is the fed. Allow or S3 get objects. These are any and everything like that. So let me just go quickly to see, is everything done correctly? Okay, so I think with this, we should be done with this part. So once we are done with our YAML file, so the next thing we do is let me see. So we are still in our backend. So the next thing now we do is let's do serverless. Let me bring this up. So unpackage it, then start our. So start loading now. So bad indentation, we're 142. So indentation 142. Where's that? Yeah.
145.
Is it 145? Oh, sorry, I
Yeah.
thought I saw 142. So it's definitely going to be here. Yeah, I think so. Let me see. So indentation is always issue here. I think is well indented now. So let's try this again.
But Shegun, is there not a tool to validate the YAML files since indentation is so important in it?
Why 170? There is, but I don't use it. 170. So I think this, I hope this will be the last. Oh, where's this? With cancel behavior function, GPI. Okay, get GPI. So this is where it's telling us. Okay, this to do. Okay, telling us these resources. That S3 bucket name. So do we have S3 bucket name in our environment? Let me check. So this is what we have. Because I'm using their own format at initial, so that's why this mistake is up here. So can you see? So this is what we use here. So instead of me changing it, so because we've used this many times, let me just change mine instead here. Let me just change the environment, the whole of the environment. Now I'm trying to use the own format to explain. So let me just copy and put this here. So we shouldn't get this error again. Oh, I should have even cleared it before I do that, but let's see. So now it's building from our node model. So now it's now telling us that we want to create a serverless without people application in this. So yes. So now it asks us, do you want to let's deploy it first and see. So now application should deploy. So I didn't install the function that I said earlier. We might get an error here. You can see that it's giving us the warning. That see all this function that I wrote here, all this and this and this. So we have already installed the function I am. So now this is building and this is packing. Pack. So you see something. Oh, I wanted to show you something here. You will see, just be noticing something. You see that all the functions, they are being packed together and zip and push inside our S3. You see, okay, let's just, as it's deploying. So if anybody has any question, just let's ask during this time.
So
You
I
can
wanted to
continue.
find out. I wanted to find out. Are we supposed to provision S3 buckets or before we do this?
No, 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 John,
Because
we have already done that here. So that's why we have provisioned the S3 bucket here. The YAML file is the most important thing here. You can see here.
yes,
Yeah.
so that's what I want to clarify. That
You can see here
is
that
it that
even
all
here we
the
wrote our our bucket policy here.
okay.
Even our gateway response, everything has been provisioned here. So we don't even need to do anything on our AWS or any of our cloud platform. Maybe this is our GCP or
Okay.
Azure or anything. It's going to do everything for us. So that's why I said this is the most important. I don't just want us to. Can you see what I'm saying here? Okay, it has disappeared. All the function that we wrote is going to pack it together. And it's going to create going to create a stack for us. Yeah. So this YAML file is the most important thing in everything that we are doing. So in that function, all the functions that we do here, this is where we give you the permission, the IAM the dynamic table, what you want it to perform, everything. So as this is loaded, let me just go to the function and quickly use that time to explain to us. So if we could get this right, then we are done with this project. So this is our source. This is the auth. So this is the business logic. What is business logic doing? So this business logic is where all our function is. I was even looking for it the other time. So you can remember this export function create to do. This is the function name create to do. This is the header. Are you with me? These are our
Yeah.
attachment URL. This is the to do ID I was making reference to the other time. So this is sec option update. So each option now, we just write the option, is going to return this. So it is this option, this option, this function that we call here. When we are doing this, let's say create to do, we export it from this handler. We export this function from, can you see, from our business logic to do. That's where we export all this function from. So if you are used to React, you know how this is being arranged.
So does that mean that we've declared the functions, then in the YAML file, what we would have done personally, as in clicking to create this here, create that here, create that here. That's what we are defining in the YAML files.
Yeah, so YAML file is just see it like an automation file. Just like, okay, we want to give instruction to it, we want it to do this for us. Oh. I thought I changed this thing. Okay. So now, he said it already exists. So, okay. So when I copied the environment in my previous one, now I copied it here. So, and that one already exists. That was why he said, oh, I should have it. So I think we use without people, right?
Yeah, but I don't think you spelled it correctly.
Spelled what? The without people? Or what?
The project name, you've not spelled it correctly.
No, it might be anything. How do we spell it?
I
What
thought
name
the
should we
No,
give?
project
the people, it's in small, everything is in small caps, but then the people, you've left the second P out for the project name.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So we might put it anyhow. It doesn't really matter. So let's just put something unique, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, when you are creating S3 buckets, you might have to use a unique name. Do you get? So let's just create this again. So I forgot I still have to stop this. We are not done yet. We are not done yet. We didn't edit this. So it's just going to this. We just edit the dynamo table. We didn't edit this is the most important one. Okay, I think, oh, this is the one. Let's just use the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think everything is done. No mistake, right? Okay. So let's run it now. So note that we are using, where is it? We are using US System 1. Okay, so we are using US System 1. So you might decide to change yours to US is 2 or anything. So do anybody have any question? Let me go to the client and start working on the client also. Excuse me. If you have any question, just bring it up. So like on the client now, I don't want to spend much of our time. So the client now, what we just need to do there is to incorporate our deployments inside the client. And that one is in our config file. Oh, sorry, not this, in our source. So this is what I want to show us initially. You can see it has compiled it already. So okay, I'm still in the backend in our source, then config. So now let's do this. Let's just go to our auth. Let's copy our domain here. This is our domain. Let's put it here. So our client ID. So as you can see here now, you can see we haven't gotten this. So we're going to get this when everything is done. Yeah, we're going to get it when everything is done. Now you see something like this, say https/this. We want to call in what is here. Execute API US East 2 Amazon AWS blah, 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 /dev. Remember this dev? Remember when we are doing something like this? What is this telling us?
With the stage.
It's talking cannot be updated. So you know what we are just going to do? Let me just change this to 2. So we'll deal with that. I'll go back to the stack that is formed later. So it's going to build in our ES2. So I want to explain something. So you know we are using our dev. Or I can just, if I don't want to change it in US2, I can just change this to CRUD or anything. Instead of using dev, I can just change, or I will just go back and program configure what's wrong with that region. Sometimes, let me even check here. Sometimes US1 region can just work, and sometimes it might just be misbehaving the transformation stack. I will go back to, I'm going to check the stack later. So let's work on this. So what I want to explain I want to explain something, but we have already changed it, so we don't need to change it again. So what I want to say here is, remember here we are using, initially we use US1. So I didn't mean it is initially, we have to change it back to 1, but now since we are using US2, I mean, US is 2, so we just leave it in 2. And because when we name it, we said it's going to be, we have the dev, you know, the stage is dev, so that's why it's /dev here. I didn't mean it was prod, it's going to be /prod. I hope you get it. So let's just go to my AWS. Let me go to the cloud formation and see what was the issue. But we are complete. We have done like 75% of the project already. It's just for us to just get it done. Let me go to my cloud formation. So what was there? So the events, everything was. So what's the reason? Okay, this was the first reason. It already exists. So this is the second reason. The folder is supposed to create. Why? You didn't give us any reason. Okay. Let me just go there and delete the stack. So let me check this out. Oh, oh gosh. Why am I making this mistake? Which I thought you change it to lowercase. Let me just change everything. It's saying that the bucket name should not contain an uppercase character. Okay, I think it's good now. Oh, damn. Okay. Let's see. Are we still here?
Yeah, we are here.
So
Yes.
most of the time we spend 10 minutes writing code and sometimes 10 hours debugging. So let me select my stack. Let me just delete it. So this might refuse to delete. Okay, so let me delete again. Then I have to delete the attachments. Okay, so now it should delete. Okay. So now let me go to HIS2. Since we're working in HIS2, I hope this doesn't fail again. So now we are done with everything we are doing now presently. So once this is done, then we want our front end and everything is just slotting this, then we are done with the project. So you can see it's compiling each of the function for us and it's putting it inside the. Let's even go and check what is happening there. So let's go to our. Are we in US? Does this just created? What happened? Let's check.
Why don't you go back and then start from scratch so that if there's any mistake that you made in while you're explaining, you just correct that.
You mean where?
Like start from the beginning because the writing of the code didn't take so much time.
Mm-hmm.
So that you do everything from scratch.
Okay. So, but I think this is still compiling. I don't think. Let me just check. I'm checking the wrong. Okay. Okay, it goes back. What's the issue? Okay. Okay, I think maybe it was when I was trying to explain and okay. So let me do something. So first of all, let me try to delete this. So we create it starting from Scratch, then AWS. Let's delete the stack. Let's go here. Let's delete it. So this shouldn't give us this steering. Okay. Let's go to steering and delete the bucket associated. So let's empty this. So let me empty this too. Empty. Okay, so let me delete the buckets. Okay, so yeah. So we delete these buckets. We delete these two. Okay. Oh, so now, so let me just remove this. So I will. So we'll do it from scratch. So let me just remove this string. Let me just name it without people serverless just to change it to this. Okay. So serverless without people, this is our web pack. So we are in there, so we can change we can decide to change our stage. So let's change to prod and see. So I hope this works fine. So let's do serverless. So it's going to start from beginning. So maybe when I'm trying to write and copy the code, we made an error somewhere, and YAML is crazy sometimes. Are we still here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we get through this. So it shouldn't take time. So once this is done, then we are done with this, just for this to compile. So let's see if this is going to work out. Okay. Okay, so does anybody have any question or contribution on anything? So as this is, so we can just try and learn from each other. I don't know, anyone? Nobody's even on video, so I can't see anybody's face. So it looks as if I'm the only one talking to myself. We have questions in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to learn from you too. So Let's try and learn from each other too. As this is
I had a question.
Okay.
In the backend, in the generate upload URL, I was wondering how you managed to handle that function.
A minute. Let me delete this. Okay, I think our stack creates completely. So I think everything is going on good so far. Okay, sorry. Let me go to your question. Let me try and minimize this. So you are talking about this, right? Is it?
Yes. Now in the, I think in the HTTP folder in the backend.
Okay, in the backend HTTP folder. Okay, this is a Lambda. This is my HTTP. This generates the URL. Okay, so okay, good. I will explain. Let me just do this so we just continue. So now let's deploy our whole application against our endpoints. So let's do serverless deploy baboos. Is it? Yeah. Did I spell it correctly? Oh, okay. So now in this our okay. So in this our you upload URL. So now what we are doing is, remember in our get access, which is I think it's in business logic, in our TODO, we have TODO ID, which is what we want. This is our user ID. Yeah, this is our UUID. So this one require the token from our auto. So this I'm going to do. Okay. So under this TODO, this is our key. This is our value. So the key here, we said it should return TODO and the value should be TODO. So that's why we get the endpoint of that. That's why we get that TODO that we are using in our attachment URL. That is going to be /TODO or not in our URL. So let me now go back to that HTTP generate URL TODO. So now what I'm trying to say is that our URL should create this and await, generate this, generate upload URL, then collect, accept an argument, which is TODO. So you know we'll be passing this TODO inside of it, in which we don't know yet. And it's that TODO that we post inside that will come inside of this. So if we are telling that this one should accept an argument TODO, and if you accept that as an argument TODO, return this status code 202, then allow all the course origin. So inside the body, we said JSON.string file, we're putting the URL. And what's the URL? We want to return this constant inside of this. Okay. Oh, I thought as much. Oh, okay. So we want to return the same URL. We want it to return the same URL inside of it. I don't know if I'm even answering your question. I kind of distracted somewhere.
I've already understood.
Yeah, when it was early, I was kind of distracted. Okay, so now when this is done, this is our endpoint. So if you should go to this, you get a failed request. Oh, let me just showing on another. Oh, I don't want to click it directly like that. So let's go. It's going to give us like field, and we're going to see the reason now. Can you see that it's doing? Oh, so it's telling us missing authentication token. Why? Because we haven't done any authentication for it. So now let's go back to our VS Code. Then let's copy this. This is what we are going to use for the authentication. So now let's go back to our config. So we bring this here. Oh, I should have even installed before. So we bring this here. So remember we are using prod, and this is our URL /prod. So we change this to, excuse me, to prod. Do you get the changes we made now?
Yeah.
Okay. So because that's the one we did in our stage, we use prod, and that's it in our URL where you can see. That's the endpoint that is giving us. So we have to change it also in our URL here. So now let's open another terminal and go into our client. So if this one is up, then we should be done with this. So let's do npm install to install the node module, then start our application. Then our application is up and running. So does anybody has any question or contribution or any addition? So anybody? So nobody's even showing their face. Why? Let me see your face. You're all seeing my face now. Can't I see your face too? So now I'm not talking to myself.
I'm showing my face now.
Okay, I can see your face. Thank you. So any other, if you have any question you want to contribute, let's try and learn together. So with this, we can all try and finish off by this weekend and we all graduate, because if you should check, most people that are in the cloud DevOps have not actually graduated. They're having a lot of issues. But I think with this, everybody should be able to, finish up this weekend and guide them to. So, but I think we understand this principle and why we are doing this serverless.
Yes, from my understanding, it's like we throughout the course we progress from the beginning of.
Yeah, you are your voice is kind of low. I can't hear very well. Can you?
I was saying that it's like from the beginning of the project till now, or the beginning of the course till now, we've been going through the way cloud has developed over the years, like the usage of the cloud over the years, up till now when we have the serverless, in which you don't have anything to do with managing servers, managing storages, and all that. Because I realized what we did in the first project is like during the second project, those were abstracted and then done for us. Then in the third one, the things that we did in the second project were abstracted and done for us. Then now it's like all the we don't have to set up storages, we don't have to set up databases, we don't have to, all those setups that we did in project 3 are also being done for us without us touching anything. So that's the understanding that I'm getting. And
and
because
okay,
I went on to watch when they were launching the AWS Lambda. I think that was in 2018 also. There's a video on YouTube on that. And then the explanation that they were given is like they are now trying to bring on a technology that you will take away most of the work from you. And it looks like as we go on, right now there are limitations to the serverless as to how much the amount of time that your code will run for and all that. But it's like as we go forward, the technology is improving, and we are looking to improve it to the point that you don't even need to worry about how long your code is going be to be in the system for all the limitations that we have now. All those things are going to be done away with. So that at a point in time, all that a developer needs to do is just write his code and then upload it, and then that will be all.
Yeah, you are very correct. And one major thing I like about this serverless is it's more like, okay, well, always starting here. So it's more like it helps us to reduce the cost on our cloud platform. Because if we do this on AWS, it might be, let's assume we spend $100 now. Using serverless now, you might be spending like $50. So it's just like a cost optimization principle, I mean, like strategy rather, which we use to reduce the cost. So because instead of us using the platform, our platform or the platform will be using what? We're using function and software as a service to achieve this. So we won't be, be stopping ourselves on the platform to use or any other things like that. So, okay, our application is up. So now, good, we didn't get any error. So let's try and log in. So can you see what the authorization app is doing? So do you see, can you remember this is my auth, what do you call it? Auth O. Do you remember?
Yeah.
So it's now giving the authorization a third party. If I accept it, so I don't really need to sign in, like putting username and password, it accepts it. So now, if I should click on this to do creation fail, why? Does anybody know the reason why it fails? So before I can create, you said?
You have to communicate to localhost.
So before I can actually upload, I have to give it a string. You know, when we are writing our YAML, we put something like it's going to be ID. I don't know if, okay, let me just say new. Can you see? If I remove this and I click on this, it will tell me error. Because when I wrote my YAML file, there is somewhere.
Is it the one that we specified that I was
Yeah,
going to take a string?
we put in ID and code like that. So we have to have an ID, you have to have this. So if I just, where am I? A minute. Where's my, so if I want to show us something here. Is it here? Okay, let me just go to now. So if I just click on this, it's going to tell me to do creation. Let me even see if there's nothing will be there actually. The reason is because we don't specify and what do you call it, an ID, I mean the name for it. So it can't create. So now we already create this. So let's see, can we edit? Yes, let's try and upload something to it. Oh, sorry, I'm not choose the file. So let's, I didn't have pictures there, but let's see. Oh, I don't want to upload my, no, okay, I'm not uploading this. Let me see if I can get any picture here on my desktop. Okay, let me just upload something like this. Let's see, and upload. So you can see that our upload was successful. Okay, let's go back home. You can see this is our upload. Let's try and add another one. Then let's say new task. So let's edit it. Let's try and upload. Let me just upload this just to test if what we are doing is working. So our file has uploaded successfully. Let's go back home. Is it here? Let's try and remove this. Can you see? So that means everything is working. Our upload, remove, everything is working. So I just removed one. Let me add new to it again. Let me just say image. This I was able to add. Then I was able to add. When we are creating the YAML file, we say we want to create. Let me try and see. I can explain to us. I just want us to understand the principle, so you understand what we are doing. Is it here when we are creating a table, we are creating a to-do? No, when you want to create a to-do, you want to post. You say create a to-do create a to-do item. Is it what is written here? Okay, if I get, I will show back. So want to post, like want to create to-do here. So when we want to create the to-do, here we can try and update it, in which what we try to do. So when we want to create a to-do, so the only part we just enter is the to-do. But when we want to update it, excuse me, we have to go to the ID, the specific ID, and update it. So how is that? If I want to update it now, I can't update every. Let me try and upload this. So it will be 2. Is there any other picture I have here? Okay, let me see. Oh God, so bad of me. I don't have pictures. Okay, let me just put this. I have this old one here. Let me just put this here. So now, I can't delete everything. So let me see, can I? I don't know. So it's only one at a time. So that's what I'm trying to explain. So when you want to create, this is what I'm trying to explain. When you want to update or delete, you have to specify the specific ID that you want to delete. I don't know if you get what I'm saying now. I didn't just, when I click on delete, it didn't just delete the 2, although I selected the 2. So it was talking about the specific ID. Let me just upload this image again. I can able to edit, I can able to upload and remove. So I think that's the end of this. So with this, everything is done perfectly. Our program is working and running smoothly and fine. So with this, we are done. So can you see everything? So both our front end, backend, application. Oh, okay, I forgot. I wanted to show us something. Sorry. So let's just go to our serverless and see what we just did. Okay, let me close this. These are documentation. Let me this again. Okay, so this is this application on our serverless framework. Can you see it's on prod? You can change yours. You can decide to change yours to dev or use any region. It doesn't matter. So we are just trying to specify the stage that you are. Just like maybe you are in Git now, and you want to specify that you want to work on one branch. Maybe you want to work on main, or do you understand? So it's something like that. So, but the main important thing is in this our clients, regardless of what you use, just remember that in our clients, you have to change this URL. If I leave it in dev, I'll be getting an error. So that maybe I change it to prod, I know, okay. But if you don't know what you are doing from beginning, you might troubleshoot the error for a whole week and you don't know what is happening. And it's just for you to change only this. But since you know what you understand, when you get a error, you say, oh, sorry, I'm using the prod. So the endpoint should be /prod or this. So that's why the understanding is more important than us just doing it. So if you understand what we are doing and why we are writing each line and command, then we be master over what we are doing. So this is what I want to show us. So if I click on this, So this will give us all the requests that I made. So these are all the requests I've made. These are the API requests I made in the last 24 hours. This is the function I invoke. Can you see? So what are the requests I make? I make a post request. I make a post request more. Then I make patch request. I make delete request 2 times. Remember, I deleted only twice. So I get request 2 times. I post 4 times. I get 3. So you can see it's going to give us everything, and it's going to remove money for only the time I make this request. So these are our serverless framework. So let's go to our S3. I mean our AWS. You can see that our stack is running fine. Everything is okay. Then let's just check our S3 just to check everything and see that everything is perfect. We don't have issue. Although with this we don't have issue, just to check and see what is happening. But remember, if you are using US1, you won't see it in US2. So make sure you get aware to what the region you are using. But S3 is global, so that's why I'm just showing you around everything we did. So this is the one we created at the initial. Okay, this is the first S3 bucket we created. Let's check what is inside. Let's open it. Oh, it's downloading. What's in there? Can you see? Can you see what is inside the bucket? Can you see it's inside the bucket? Hello, are you still with me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want you to open with the pre-signed URL. I don't know why it's open and in download. Let me just go back here. Let me see.
What
Open.
about copy URL?
The public. Okay, I think it's public, right? So you should be able to see. Let's copy the URL. I didn't want you to download. I want you to copy to. Did I copy the wrong thing? Yeah, I think I should copy the wrong one. Is it the URL? No, this is not the URL. I think it should be this.
I think it's the
Okay,
object URL.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it is. So object URL2 is still downloading. It's still that. Can you see it's downloading? I don't want it to download. I want to use it. I want to use the pre-signed URL. But, so it's downloading. I think I should be able to copy it. I'm just showing us. You can see. Let's just check it down. Everything is perfect. So I'm just trying to show us around everything that we do, how it works, what happens. So here too. Let's just check. Let's check it. What is in there? So I think we upload this one many 2 times. So that's what happened. That's how the project goes. So do you have any question? I think I should stop recording, right? So should I stop recording now?
So is this everything that they
So
are
I think you should allow the questions to be in the recording so that for those who are not here, because there are lots of people who are still on project 3. I think that's the reason they are not in this session.
Okay, so let's see any question. Let's see if there's any more question that we need to undo. Do you have anything we should show or display here?
So I have a question.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah, Muti.
If you can go to the YAML file.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Somewhere there is a documentation tag.
Yeah.
With
The plugin.
now, yeah. What is it for? What does it do?
So now remember when we are doing this,
Yeah, exactly that.
I'm coming, is it here? A minute. So when we are doing this, we are
Yeah.
doing our create to do. So we are using something here, which is like a key value to, we say, documentation. So we are trying to give emphasis on what this create to do will do. Okay, there's something I even want to show us. Is it? Let me check again.
So it's not necessary.
was
It's
okay,
just
it's not there.
for explanation, right?
No, it's not really for explanation because here we are using a request model. And we are trying to tell you that in this request model, what is using is the application.js because we are using JavaScript, like Node, right? Java TypeScript, something like we are using Node. So, but we want it to get this application from create to do request. And what is inside our to do request? Can you see this is our request and this is our create to do? So like when we are creating our to do, what are the things that are more important? So we said the name. We want to get the name of the request that has been created and the due date, the date that has been created. We want to keep the information. So and when we are doing the update too, three things we use there. We use the name, the due date, then the boolean. So maybe it's true, like yes or no. Do you understand? So that's why we have to use the plugin. That's why we have to use the plugin. There for us to be able to use this. So if we don't use the plugin, we might not be able to use this.
Mhm.
Do you
So
understand?
let me make something good. So summary and description are optional, but request models are necessary.
Yes, it's necessary. And also here too, the reason why we use this plugin to the validator plugin, I think I explained it earlier too, when we are trying to validate our this where do we let me go back to where we use it when we are trying to validate our request. So that's why we use the plugin. So if you don't use the plugin, you might actually get an error. The plugin is just like we are using a framework that is going to make it like, how would I explain it? It's just like a framework. Let me put it in that way, that you're using one framework that is going to make this possible. So like the way we use plugin generally when we are developing softwares. Do you understand?
Okay, yeah, I get it now. Thank you.
So let me stop the server, right? And let's push to Git, right? So let me do that. So let me check the Git status. So you have made all these changes. Okay. Let's add all comments. What do we do? Let's just call it project complete project file. Oh, sorry, complete project file. Then git push u origin. I think we are in dev, right? Okay. So everything is now great. So now, like I said earlier, for those that joined late, I open two branch. So let me show us. So the dev and the main. So the main is where I push the starter code. I change it from the main starter code. I try to arrange it because there's a way you have to arrange it for it to be accepted. So I arrange it. I wrote the function, each of the function, I put it there. So what we did here is we work on the YAML file and now it's been done. So the main starter code, so if you want to start it from afresh, like you want to try and see what is there and learn it from the beginning, so you can just clone it from the main. So this dev have the whole complete project. So that's what I do. So I won't merge it yet on Git. I'll just leave it like I'll just leave it like that. So you can just go there. So at the same time, like we also want us all to connect. So we can actually follow ourselves too on LinkedIn and also maybe on GitHub and follow our project. So I think we can all just put in our LinkedIn profile and maybe our GitHub that we can connect with each other. Also, although it's optional, just like connect. So because this is going might be the last project in this phase, so we might be working together beyond this project. Although it's optional if you want. So I can just put my.
Oh, I'm going to send you a connection right after. So I'm going to send you a request after.
I'll put my LinkedIn here, and I think we'll all have access to my GitHub. So I think we should stop recording, right? Or is there still any other question?
Yes, just drop your LinkedIn, we'll connect.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so let me just stop record. Let me just get the link here. Okay, that's my LinkedIn. So I think I should stop recording.